And welcome back, all of you gangsters, to the Girls Ask Guys show. This is the place where all of us try to figure out flirting, dating, relationships, breakups, and everything else that life throws at us. I'm one of your hosts, John.
And I'm the other one, Ashley.
And today we are looking at dating and crushes.
Ooh, crushes. What an appropriate word for such a heart-wrenching.
Nothing like having a crush on somebody, them not feeling the same way, and having your heart crushed on you.
Literally, you can feel it. I don't know if you've ever felt this, but you can sometimes feel it in your chest.
Yeah. I've actually had it where so bad for a girl, and I think I've mentioned this in the last show, where I had it so bad for a girl that I just kept holding on to that little bit of hope, and every single time I would ask her out and I would just get rejected.
Right. And oh yeah, we've all done that. Like we said the last show, you end up doing boyfriend or girlfriend things for somebody who just keeps you in the friend zone.
Yeah.
And you do it with this hope, and let's just say that hope doesn't ever really work out for anyone.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It really goes back to how everything was established.
Right.
And if you have a crush on somebody and you want to go out with them, you have to have that establishment first. Because if the boundaries are set, it's hard to cross over those boundaries. They have to feel the same way that you do.
Yeah, and also it's hard to cross those boundaries sometimes, because even if you had that intention, the friendship just gets too good. And I've had really good friends, people who I probably intended on dating when I first met them.
Yeah.
But then as the friendship grew, I was like, you know what?
Yeah, exactly. And that will actually perfectly tie into the questions that we got coming up.
All right, let's read them.
The first one we have is actually submitted by somebody who's asking anonymously.
Ooh.
But this is a guy who's asking, what do you do when you find out your crush already has a relationship? He goes on to explain, do you keep trying to win them over for a while? Or keep your distance so you don't get friend zoned? What's your take on this one?
Okay, both of these situations, both of these ultimatums he have, are absolutely garbage. Number one, first ultimatum, do you keep trying to win them over for a while? That means that you are going to intentionally try and ruin a potentially good relationship with somebody because you have a crush. And you owe it more to yourself to find somebody who's actually interested in you and be a better person. Why would you intentionally try and keep winning them over? I don't know which movie told people that this is something you do to people when they have when you have a crush on them and they're already in a relationship. Or do you keep your distance so that you don't get friend zoned? You keep your distance for your own emotional health, but if you're keeping your distance just so you don't have to deal with the person until they're single, I think that's another awful way to look at it. I am not a fan of this person. I am super glad you're anonymous, because both of these outcomes are really toxic. It should be something like, do you continue to be this person's friend and respect their relationship? Or do you tell them, listen, I really see you as someone I can see as a potential partner. I don't really think this friendship's going to work out.
I'm with you. I mean, you don't stay with somebody. If you have a crush on somebody, you don't sit there and stay with them and try to win them over. All that says to me is that you're actually throwing stuff in their way to try to get them away from the other person. And you're trying to be the hero. I mean, that's what this is. You're trying to be the hero.
Yeah.
Is how I'm looking at this. And being the hero is not going to work out for you. I mean, it's just isn't. And should you keep your distance so you don't get, you're not going to get friend zoned. What you're going to do is get friend stomped.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, you're not going to end up in the friend zone. They're going to toss you to the wayside. And what I would do, I would just be their friend.
Yeah.
Be happy that you're actually involved with their life and be content with that. Now, if you happen to be their friend and they happen, without your involvement, they happen to end it with the other person, then bring it up to them. Hey, do you think that we could go out more than friends? Now, if they say yes, hey, awesome, it worked out. They say no, be happy with that.
Right, and do so in a respectable amount of time also.
Yeah.
Don't just, we just broke up. Well, that's a shame. Hey, would you like to go out with me this week? No, if you're going to be their friend, be their friend. If your if your intention is to take them as a lover, then, make that intention clear. And that way, when they say no, thank you, you know to bow out gracefully. Don't pretend to be someone's friend under the guise of offering a shoulder to cry on, or offering them, a relationship that they feel safe in,
Oh,
and then turn it on them.
that's almost as bad as going out with somebody's friend in order to get with the one that you're actually interested in,
or dating someone else just to make someone jealous.
That's just childish. I mean, that stuff is used in the movies. I mean, movies are there for entertainment. It's not real life.
No, I don't really like to go too heavy on people, but these ultimatums that you're giving, neither of them are okay. And I'm also kind of worried about who you are as a person, because if you think it's okay to ruin a very good relationship simply because you have a crush, there's a problem. And I've been that person. And it takes that self-reflection to say, oh my goodness, what am I doing?
Yeah, and I've been there and I've done that, and it never worked out. I mean, it took me several tries, and I lost several people that I really cared about, and some really good friendships on top of it, doing exactly that, trying to just win them over because I had a crush on them, because I saw them for more than what they saw me for. And it's not the road you want to go down, period.
Do yourself a favor. Go find someone else. That person is not the only person in the world.
Yeah.
And I know it feels like they are at this moment. I get that. It feels like they are absolutely the only person in the world in this moment meant for you, and that there's no one else in the world that understands you like they do. But guess what? There is somebody out there who's single and who wants to be with you, who you don't have to ruin, because there's another person involved.
I really don't know which country this person is writing from, but just in the United States alone, there's over 300 million people. Now, let's just take that 150 million, give or take, are of the opposite sex. There's 150 million people for you to choose from. So just because there's this one, just in the little city that I live in, there's 63,000 people. Just half of them. I mean, there's a lot of people to choose from.
It's amazing. I think what happens is with relationships is we get this tunnel vision, to where the only person that...
Yeah, I call it one-itis.
Yeah. And what happens is the only person in the world we see is romantic. And it's a very cute thought. It is very adorable, and kudos to you for being monogamous. But at the same time, if you're not in a relationship, there's no need for you to be monogamous with anyone.
Even for myself, I'm a serial dater. I don't go out with just one person. Now, when I do go out with somebody, I let them know straight up front, look, we're just now starting this, but there are other people that I'm seeing. Now, I do have a filtering process, so I can decide which direction I'm going to go with them. Are they more of a friend type because they don't have all the traits I'm looking for? And if they do have the traits I'm looking for, then I choose them, and everybody else gets friend zoned. And then I go into that strictly monogamous with them, and nobody else is crossing that line.
Right.
It's kind of weird trying to explain it. It's one of those that you really kind of have to see. I mean, it sounds like I'm a terrible person when I put it that way, but I play the field and then I narrow it down.
And that's kind of what dating is supposed to be. And it's kind of almost gotten very, very crazy, where people don't understand the difference between, a relationship and casual dating. And mainly because, once again, people don't know how to establish boundaries.
Yeah.
It's just it's almost like a lost art, the concept of casual dating. And also, people need to understand, if you're just casually dating someone, define that. Tell them.
Yeah.
Be upfront.
Yeah, because either they're going to accept it or they're going to reject it.
Right.
Now, if I tell them, look, we're not exclusive to each other at this point in time, and they're like, oh, you're cheating. And it's like, we haven't even gone on a date yet. What are you talking about cheating?
Right.
Or just because we are seeing each other doesn't mean that all of a sudden the rest of the world is closed off. Unless we decide that we're going to be exclusive to each other, there is no cheating.
Nope, and there's not. But if your friend or the girl you like or the guy you like is made it clear that they are in a relationship with somebody and you don't know what to do, you have two options. You can continue to be their friend without a stipulation of we're going to be friends and hopefully I'm going to keep trying to win you over, because that's just some, honestly, I hate to say it like this, but that's some stupid ass shit, man.
Yeah.
That's such garbage. And you should not do that. Like I said, there's a whole person involved who has no idea, number one, that you're doing this, but also you're trying to ruin them too. Like, why? They didn't do anything to you. They didn't do anything.
The question itself kind of has me boggled a little bit, because if you had a crush on them and then you found out that they were in a relationship, how does that actually work? I mean, if you've been watching them and if you've been, no other way to put it, you've been fantasizing about, because that's really the only way that a crush happens.
Right.
And now you find out that they have somebody else. I mean, I'm kind of lost on how that works, because anybody I had a crush on or I was interested in, I could pretty much tell.
Yeah.
If I didn't actually physically see them with somebody, I could tell by their mannerisms that they're involved with somebody else.
Yeah, they probably told you too. You know, you're choosing to stay in a relationship with somebody, in a literal mental relationship with somebody, and hoping to be the hero, the white knight, the guy who gets the girl. And as wonderful and rom-commy as that sounds, it's not realistic. There's plenty of other people for you to date. There's plenty of other people who probably find you attractive. And you're being monogamous. Like I said, you're in a monogamous relationship with somebody who isn't in one with you. You are literally setting yourself up for heartbreak to a certain degree.
Yeah. Even my first approach, when I switched from my little innocuous, under the radar question, and I switched to something a little bit more personal, like, so what do you do for a living? That steps it up. It gets a little bit more personal, and red flags will start to go off. Okay, this guy's asking me personal questions. I've known him for about a minute and a half. I'm in a relationship.
Yep.
Oh, that's fine. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get personal on you. I was just curious.
And yeah.
So I'm able to backpedal real quick.
Right. And girls will always tell you, well, that's a lie. Most of the time, girls are more likely to tell you that they're in a relationship.
Well, girls tend to be a lot more socially astute than guys are. I mean, that whole social thing starts way younger than it does for guys. We don't get there until like age 10, 11, or 12.
50.
Yeah. I mean, girls, that starts at like age 7. we're like eons behind the power curve.
Yeah. It's just such a bad, I don't know. To me, it's such a bad way to look at things.
Yeah, dude, don't try and be the white knight and ride in on your horse and try to save her when things don't work out, or try to show her how good of an alternative you are to whoever she's currently seeing. It's not going to work out. It's just not.
And you know what? It's very off-putting.
Yes.
It's incredibly off-putting. You know, I'm better because of this. The things people will say, like, aren't you dating someone? Blah, blah, blah. Or if I was dating you, I would do this. He should be listening to you. She should be listening to you. Like, stop it. It's off-putting and it's weird.
You've been my friend this whole time and now you're going to tell me you've had a crush? Yeah, it's not going to work.
Right.
It's not going to work.
And if it's a serious relationship, you might get punched in the head.
Yeah.
Because some people don't appreciate that.
No, they don't. In my experience, I've found it is more off-putting, and they actually take more offense to it than if you actually came about the whole thing a little bit more naturally.
Yeah.
Because if you're sitting in the wings on a hope and a prayer and living in fantasy world, it's not going to work.
Nope.
It's one of those things, it will end any kind of relationship that you currently have, period.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually brings us into our next question that is very similar to this question. Submitted by another anonymous. And should you try again with a girl that rejected you once if the reason was that she was dating someone at that time, but now she is single? He goes into a little bit more of an explanation on this. And he says, asked this girl from my class out almost 2 months ago, but she rejected me because she was seeing someone else. But now she is single again. She acts normal around me. I still have feelings for her, and I don't know what to do. I'm afraid to ask her out again because it is awkward to try again after rejection. I don't want to look desperate, so what should I do?
This is a toughie. Number one, I appreciate that there's a slight respect to where she said she's seeing someone and he kind of backed off.
Yeah, actually, what I would do with something like this, the easiest way to do this, don't make it during, like, at night. You're not going to invite him out to dinner. You're not going to ask him to go see a movie. Nothing that resembles a date. What I would do is invite him out for lunch. And that way, no red flags going off. And then from there, you can actually broach the subject of, hey, would you like to go out for dinner sometime? Or would you like to come over for Netflix night or something like that? Keep it.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that these day and age. Netflix comes with some expectations nowadays.
I don't know. I don't know. The way that I operate, it's just because it's what I would highly recommend is don't go into it with any kind of agenda. If you're sitting there and you invite her out and in your head you were going, oh, I want to go out with her. I want to go out with her. Oh, I hope she kisses me. I hope she kisses me. That's going to read in your body language and everything else.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, girls are very socially astute. They will pick up on that almost instantly.
Yeah.
It's like girls watching your shoes. He has dirty shoes. He must have a dirty lifestyle. I can't tell you how many times I've actually heard that. So keep your shoes clean, guys.
Yeah, right? And make sure your shoes and your belt match.
Yeah, brown shoes, brown belt, black shoes, black belt. And that also goes for your wristband on your watch.
Huh.
Brown, brown, and brown, all the way across.
That.
Yeah, I paid attention. And don't wear a gold necklace if you have a silver belt buckle. Your medals should match as well. Another little tip. But don't go into it with any kind of agenda. You're just looking to hang out, be friends, then broach the subject when you feel that the time is right. And don't sit there and wait forever. Grow a pair and ask, would you like to go out for dinner? Or something more date-ish. Would you like to go on a date with me? Would you like to go out? Establish that you actually want something a little bit more romantic.
Right. And I would also, as I always do, wait an appropriate amount of time. Don't come in off the bat like, hey, heard you're single. That's awesome. That's weird and it's uncalled for.
Yes.
And he says, she acts normal around me, but I still have feelings for her. I'm afraid to ask her out again because it's awkward to try after rejection. It's not as awkward as you think.
No, it's not.
Especially if you guys hang out or, she's around you. It seems like she's around you kind of often. It's not that weird.
Could just be waiting for you to ask.
Right. And maybe she does like you, and if she doesn't, and as long as she's honest with you, which for your sake, I really hope she is, because it seems like this is this question isn't like the same, the question before it was just awful. It was just how can I get into this girl? How can I get with this girl? Blah, blah, blah. But this seems like someone who's respectable enough to where he took the rejection.
Yes.
So for your sake, ask her, say, like you said, take some time, do the whole day, but ask her truthfully.
Yeah, ask her truthfully. And the whole reason I say ask her out for lunch or something during the day is because it's not coming out of the blue, like all of a sudden you're asking her out on a date.
Right.
If it's been 2 or 3 days, you have a friendship there because, like Ashley said, she's acting normal around you. So you want to keep that friendships. That's why I say ask her out for something during the day that's friendship-ish. And then you can broach the subject of something more. But you don't want to sit there and be wishy-washy about it. Because if she rejects you or she doesn't see you that way, okay, not a problem. Because you're on a friendship keel or you're in a friendship area when you're broaching the subject.
Right. And don't do it under the guise of like, hey, like some sort of emotional support. That's, and it's a classic tactic that people have been taught. I don't know who taught us about dating in this world, but whoever it is needs to be punished and tried for their crimes. Because, what people tend to do is, I'm here to talk to you. I'm here to talk about it. If you ever need Anybody, blah, blah, blah. Don't do that crap. Like, don't do it. Don't pretend to be.
Yeah, you don't want to be the shoulder to cry on.
Right. Don't pretend. Be honest with yourself and just say, hey, want to hang out and that kind of thing. Just lead it to where you want it to go. And you what is it? You hope for the best, expect the worst or something.
But if you don't ask her, the answer is going to be no.
Right.
That's the way I always looked at it. That if I don't ask them out, then the answer is no. At least give her the opportunity to say yes. Because who knows? I mean, she might just be waiting for you to ask, but you're not giving her the opportunity to say yes.
Yeah.
It's better to ask and find out than go through the rest of your life wondering what if.
Right.
Because you can't go back in time. Trust me, it doesn't work.
Time travel is virtually impossible anyway. But that's a whole nother tangent.
Yes.
But respect, not expect. Respect her decision either way.
Yeah.
Don't get bitter. You know, when you put yourself out there for someone to date, you know, for someone to go on a date with you, you cannot be angry with them if they make the choice not to want to be with you. And it's very easy to be angry with them. Because you feel, you know, number one, you feel rejected. Number two, you see something super compatible in you guys and you're just furious that they don't see it either. And really, they could just be saving you all the trouble. You don't know what that person's like. They could be crazy.
Yeah. I actually went out with one girl, and I mean, at first, she seemed like she had her life together, and it seemed like everything lined up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No other way to put it. She was batshit crazy. Yeah. Because the more you got into it, I mean, I enjoy a little bit of mysteriousness in a girl. I don't want her to dump her entire life on me within the first 15 minutes of the first date.
Right.
But I mean, she had that little bit of mysteriousness. I wanted to keep coming back and finding out. And then I found out and I was like, oh God, no. I mean, I couldn't move fast enough. So yeah, I would just say, just ask her.
Yeah.
Set it up on a friendship level. That way the friendship is still there. And then you can easily just ease right into it. Hey, would you like to go out? And then see what she says.
And once again, if she rejects you, it happens, man. It sucks, but it happens.
The way that I'm reading this whole, not just the question, but also the explanation, I have a feeling that if she does reject you, it's going to be one of those that you're actually going to be able to take. I mean, it's like, I just really prefer to be friends. That's how I'm reading it. I'm not saying like, what are you, crazy? What the fuck are you asking me out for? I don't see that.
And if she does say that, then you dodged the bullet, by the way.
Yeah. Well, the boundary is definitely set.
Right.
That's going to be up to you whether you want to continue being friends.
Yeah, seriously. You just can't expect anything. You can just hope. And it's not false hope until the person lies to you.
Yeah. And I don't think you would look desperate. I mean, I don't see desperation coming into this. I mean, desperation is if once it was known that she was now single, you went up 5 minutes later and you're like, oh, did you just break up with him? Want to go out? That I call desperate. That, and yeah, I've sent her 50 texts and she hasn't replied.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I've done that.
That would be desperate.
Yeah, man. You got to just know your boundaries, live them, be willing to accept the no. Seriously. If you can accept the no, you'll be okay. It's when you stop accepting the no's and you begin to grow that anger, you know, if she says, no, let's be friends. I mean, keep being friends.
As far as being awkward, the only one that's making awkward is your own head.
Right.
A lot of people say meeting somebody at the grocery store standing in line is awkward. You would be surprised at how many girls I've actually met in the grocery store. But I could be sitting there in line and, oh, do you like that cereal? I mean, totally under the radar question. Oh yeah, I love it. What do you like about it? I mean, they'll start telling you everything. It's like, really? Just out of curiosity. What do you do for a living? And there's the conversation starting right there. I'm already starting my filtering process. And if it works out, before we're done checking out, I have a time and date set which we're going to meet up. There's nothing awkward about it. What makes it awkward is going, hi. I mean, now it's awkward.
Especially if the line's long. It's like you have a chat on your head. You know what I mean? Like, it's if they say this, then we're going to go to this. And if they do this, no, just keep it flowing. Be present. You know, when you guys talk, you know?
And the worst thing you can do is ask a yes or no question, because once yes, no, and then conversation's done. What time is it? 2:15.
Yeah, right.
I've been there, done that, and my little innocuous questions are the best openers. The best openers that I found that work for me, and they've worked for a lot of guys, and it worked for a lot of girls too. I've actually had some girls take notes, and they're like, "Do you know what that thing is? It that works."
That works, yeah, because we're not crazy people.
I'm not out for a phone number. I mean, a phone number is the last thing in my head. The only thing I want to do is start a conversation. Then we'll find out that they're not totally batshit crazy. Then I'll ask them out. Hey, would you like to get a coffee someday?
There's an acceptable level of crazy with anybody, though. I would like.
Yeah, there is there. Yeah, I want a little bit of crazy.
Yeah, nobody wants,
just not
like, completely emotional.
I just don't want Joker Penguin type crazy.
Yeah, Joker. I don't know. Yeah, Catwoman's pretty batshit too. I mean, I'd take like I don't know, man, it's pretty crazy too.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the comic book characters, villains are like totally nuts.
Yeah, they have to be though.
Yeah, otherwise there wouldn't be any fun. But I always want I want a little bit of adventurousness in there. I want a little bit of childish, be able to be childish at times. I mean, temper it down when it's appropriate. Crank it up when it's fun. I mean, I want that type of crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I just don't want the 4 a.m. phone call screaming crazy. Well, no, not anymore.
I left 15 emails, 36 voice messages, and 47 texts. How come you haven't replied? Because you sent them in the last hour?
It's 4 a.m. and I'm sleeping. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being human. Have you tried sleep? I remember, this is funny. I was at one of my friends' house. It was two of my friends. They were roommates. And one of my friend's girlfriend's over, and she is just causing all kinds of havoc. And it's the middle of the night. And I didn't drive there. My friend, his girlfriend was supposed to drive me home. And because he was, he was being like, shut up, go to sleep, blah, blah, blah. She's like, well, I'm not taking Ashley home. So my other friend had to take me home. And I swear to God, he goes, don't y'all sleep? And I was like, oh my goodness, it was the most valid point in the entire freaking world, because all they had to do was go to sleep. And he was just like, don't y'all sleep? And we're all like, oh my God, like, are you serious right now? This is insane.
Well, I remember when I was in the military, we had what we call fire watch, and that's your night watch. So I'm sitting there and I'm doing my paperwork stuff, and the guy I was on fire watch with kept making phone calls. And I'm like, dude, you do realize that if something happens, the commander has to get in touch with us on that phone. Yeah, but she's not calling me back because it's like 2 a.m. I mean, he's just like, oh yeah, she probably hates me right about now. It's like, yeah, you've only been calling her since midnight. Yeah, but I'm bored.
Right, I'm bored, so I'm going to really get on your nerves. That's what I do. No, people are just weird. And on one hand, we have the guy who's like gracefully rejected. He's cool. The other guy's like literally harboring it sounds like he's literally harboring some sort of shrine, and like it seems unhealthy. It's really funny.
Yeah. I was going to pretty much say the same thing. I mean, you got this one guy that he got rejected because she was in a relationship and he gracefully bowed out, but he sees an opportunity to where he could ask her out. Then you've got this other guy who, yeah, is probably harboring a shrine someplace and wants to be the hero that rides in and saves the day.
Rather than just understand that maybe, hey, she might not like you.
Yeah. Hey, guy 1, take notes from guy 2.
Right. Like, you guys, whenever you go to your anonymous meeting, kindly point each other out, because you have a lot to teach them. And they actually, the way the writing goes, and I'm no linguist by any means, I just watch a lot of like CSI and Law and Order. But they both sound relatively young.
And hey, if guy 1 is guy 2 revised and you just reworded everything, sorry about ripping on you on the first part of the show.
Yeah, dude. Sorry, you're just a really good writer, man. Like, yeah, that would be funny if they were like the same guy.
Same guy, yeah.
And they're like listening to this and they're like, well, which one do I do? I'm like, bat it out. And when I say, it's a garbage question, I don't necessarily mean you're a garbage person. I just mean that your approach is not.
Yeah, it should be explained just a little bit better.
Yeah, you need to do better.
We can only run off of what we're given.
Of course.
So when you write into the show, make sure that you give as much detail as possible while keeping it as concise, because we really don't want to go over 8 pages worth of backstory.
Right. Give us the gist of it. Give us the honesty about it. And don't withhold the important things. Like, my boyfriend's cheating on me with my sister. Okay.
Yeah.
That sucks. well, I cheated on him first, and we're just going back and forth. Okay, let's not leave shit out, like, let's get all the details.
Give us enough details that we can actually kind of fill in the blanks and be as much assistance to you as we possibly can. And with that, we are out of time. I want to say thank you for listening, and it is really appreciated, because without you, we wouldn't be here. I'm here to give opinions on guys.
And I'm here to give opinions on girls.
And together, we'll be figuring out flirting, dating, relationships, breakups, and everything else. So go out there and live life on your terms. Be the star you were meant to be. Hope you join us again so we can master this thing we call life together. This has been a production of The Girls Ask Guys Show. Visit us over at thegirlsaskguyshow.com, where you can subscribe, submit your questions, and request to be a guest on the show. Go ahead and leave us some honest feedback and let us know how we're doing. We really appreciate everyone listening, and we will talk to you on the next one.